Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome back to another Primal The Awakening unboxing. So this is our Hunters Part 2 video. We're going to separate each Hunter into its own video because they were going a little bit long for the first one. And that way we can make sure we're giving time adequate to each one. So the first one we go over Daron, the Great Sword. This one we're going to go over Mirah, the Great Bow. So let's take a quick update look at her miniature. We didn't see this yet. And like all the other ones, they're kind of made out of like animal parts. It's awesome. It's like a big giant bow. She got some big spikes on there, so someone could get close. She could just stab them with her bow as well. Oh yeah, she has big, massive arrows, so she's not launching these little tiny things at people. Which is made of kind of like a tooth or like probably different pattern there. She's got different fur and feathers. Big giant pauldron on her. Definitely looks cool. So again, there's like a colored picture of her. So you can see a little bit more of her costume looks like. Definitely a cool idea, right? Big giant, a great sword, 200 great sword. That's fantasy's typical thing. And then usually, yeah, you have an arrow wielder, but this is awesome though that it's someone with a big, giant, huge bow that's like as big as they are. So it really kind of ups the scale of it. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and jump into her cards. So we have her little reference icon. Just keeps in front of you. This is a reminder of how some of her abilities work. So she'll have play a card, then play a blue. So if a blue is played after this, you trigger the ability if the next card you play is a maneuver or the blue card. Master ability only resolve the ability if your master card is focused. And then a picture of her giant bow and arrow. It refers to your weapon level. So that's kind of just the standard ones. And then we get back into the other side. There's some keywords. We have assist, which we'll see in all the cards. But just as a reminder, once per turn during another player's turn, before either before or after any action, you may perform an assist by discarding a card with the keyword assist from your hand. If you do, the active player draws one card. So while this will limit you to having one less card on your turn, it's going to give your teammate an extra helpful card, which could give them one extra point of advantage, let them use that card to discard to play something else. Gives them a bunch of different options. And we've also saw that there's going to be lots of other ways for you to help assist your teammates to be drawing extra cards as well. So using assist cards fairly frequently isn't going to really like awesome. Oh, I only got 2 cards in my hand this turn, you know, because I assisted all 3 other players. Because you're going to get them back doing other stuff. And she has aim. This is a card trait. The trait has no inherent effect on the game because card abilities may reference other cards or lack specific traits. So each character, each hunter seems to have one of these abilities. So it'd be something on it might say for every aim card you play. Blind. When you inflict blind, choose a peril card and play it. The peril card is considered to be blank until the start of your next turn. Place a blind token on that peril card to show it is blank. Definitely shuts off one of your monster's abilities. Recycle X. When you're instructed to recycle X, you may discard X cards of your choice from your hand to draw X cards. Helps you focus on whatever type you may be trying to play. Stealth. Action card with keyword stealth do not trigger reaction icons when contains color or card type icons when they are played in your sequence. So it's like saying if you play a stealth card with red, it's not going to trigger a red action. This is supposed to be like the idea of her shooting back from a distance, kind of like an idea of like ranged attacks, right? Her shooting from a distance with a bow isn't going to maybe necessarily monsters I can be able to look at her and be like, I see you standing there, versus a guy running up and jabbing a giant sword in her face. And then one of her special keywords is Volley X. You may discard X card from the top of your deck and deal damage to the monster equal to your weapon level for each offensive card discarded this way. So showing her shooting multiple arrows at a time. And we'll jump through and go through all her weapons, and then we'll go through her deck. So you can kind of see what we're playing with. So her first one is the Great Bow. which has 6, 6, 6, 6, same as all the other guys. Volley, if you play a red card, you can volley 1. So you discard 1 card from the top of your deck when you play a red, potentially doing extra thing. So you can either look at that as either her shooting multiple arrows or her shooting a more powerful arrow. I guess it's really depending on which way you want to look at it, right? Either she's shooting a volley of arrows, meaning she's essentially shooting 2 extra arrows, 1 for the first shot when she did the red card for the attack, and then she's volleying a second arrow right up after it, potentially doing a second shot. Or it could be how strong she does it. I would assume I would go with the thought of 2 shots of an arrow, just because of the fact that you could be like, if you draw the second card and it doesn't hit, it means that they missed with the second shot. They tried to fire 2 quick in a row. Just as a mental thought for me. I like to put keywords into mental phrases and how they would actually be in a game. Alright, for fire, we have the Ashbringer. It's definitely a molten hot red part. Does not look like it'd be fun to touch. But here we have 6, 5, 4, and 5. So yeah, we kind of keep our attack power up, and then we're going to lose some defense. Some parries there. When you discard a blue card from your hand, deal 2 damage. Cool. So if you have something that lets you discard, to do some extra things. So stuff like recycle would help. Volley wouldn't work because that's from your deck, not from your hand. The only upgrade, arrows even change a little bit. That's usually the artwork being cut off. Yeah, the bow gets a little bit spikier. Start volley 1. When you discard a card from your hand, deal 3 damage. And it's just 5. And if we're upping it to the third one, a lot more spikes on there, which has volley 2. When you discard a blue card from your hand, deal 5 damage. Cool. So yeah, volley doesn't work with this discarding ability, but you're going to be able to discard to do some extra stuff. Alright, our horn, we have the Tusk Bow. Increase your hand limit size by 1. So this is all 5, so you lose 1 card from each, but you get 1 extra card every turn. Which isn't a bad thing for 3 damage. If we upgrade that a little bit more. Increase your hand limit by 1. Start, recycle 1. So this is when you're instructed to recycle, you may discard X cards to draw X cards. So you get more cards in your hand, but you also get a better option of what you're going to play. And then there we have start, recycle 2 for 3. And this also ups it back to 6 of each instead of 5s. So if you get level 3, you're back up to your full deck size. For coral, our watercolor, in blue we have a 4, a 6, a 4, and a 6. So kind of limiting your reactions a little bit. Less attack, less parry. But when you discard a red card from your hand to generate stamina, heal 1. This is again not focusing as much on attack and using the other cards to do stuff. So you're kind of being more of a distraction, dodging around, using blue to remove them struggle tokens, then taking and dealing lots of damage. Then when we upgrade the Abyss level 2, recycle 1 at the start of your turn. And then when you discard a red card, you may heal 2 max once per turn. And then level 3, all that extra coral all over that card. Recycle 2, and you can discard a red for stamina, heal 3. So that's pretty cool if you really need to heal. Then we have our crystal, Death Sparkle, which I love the name. 5, 6, 4, and 5. So yeah, kind of a little bit reduction in everything, but less parrying again. This yellow card doesn't seem much to be parried. And that's it. Each hunter's gonna have their strengths and weaknesses. One character might be more focused on doing red attacks. One might be focused more on doing blue maneuvers. One's gonna be focused more on defense. One's gonna be focused more on parrying. They'll also be able to do everything. It's just who's kind of aimed a little bit more towards one or the other. It says when you play a card in your sequence, reveal the top card of your deck. If the color of that card matches the one you played, add it to your hand. So kind of like a gamble, but you might get an extra card every turn. Level 2. Now you get a crystal start to take over when that top part became a little dragon. When you play a card in sequence, reveal the top card of your deck. That color matches when you play in your hand. Add it to your hand, max 2 per turns. And then level 3, fully crystallized. When you play attack in your sequence, reveal the top card, max when you played, maximum 3 per turn. So you just get to do it more often. Doesn't upgrade how effective it is, just lets you do it more often. For Thunder, we have Lightning Bow. 6, 5, 4, and 5. So a little bit variation on the last one. It definitely being attack one. So it does 4 damage. Start. Place a counter on Lightning Bow for each red in your hand. At the end of the round, discard all counters from Lightning Bow and deal 1 damage for each counter discarded. So this is kind of cool. Start of your turn. The more red cards you have, and your end of the round, you get to do additional amount of damage. It's just going to be very helpful if you have teammates that are letting you play extra cards, or if you have armor or equipment that maybe let you draw stuff. If you have multiple start to turn things, that could definitely help you. As our Lightning Bow gets a little bit more covered in, not like bug parts, is what it kind of looks like. Same exact effect there. Put a counter on for each red card. Discard all counters from Lightning Bow. Deal 2 damage for each counter discarded. And then we get to level 3. You can static the yellow lightning. And that does the same thing. Now you do 3 damage for each card discarded. Cool. And our last weapon type is the Metal Iron Bow. With little gears on there. Like a double string. That's pretty cool. 6, 4, 5, and 5. Play 2 red. Increase the damage of the attack by 3. So yeah, you're going to be able to do a lot more damage with this card. And again, if you play 3 red in a row, you get to do this twice. Upgrading a little bit more. Gain a defense token and increase the attack by 3. And then finally in level 3, it just looks like a bunch of Swiss Army knives sticking out of there. So we have play 2 red, increase the damage attack by 5. You and the next player in your turn on each gain a defense token. So this is kind of cool. It's an offensive and a defensive weapon. The more attacks you play, the more damage you'll get to do. But you can also use it to help defend yourselves as well. So it'd be pretty cool. But you have to be playing a lot more red with this one versus seeing some of her other cards. She didn't focus on the red as much. But let's see how these are going to work with her actual deck of cards. Drop those down. We'll look at her first mastery. So it says Ultimate Shot. When you empty your deck, place a counter on this card. So when she runs out of arrows, essentially you could look at it like that way. She gets to eventually then start her turn with Volley 2. And when you empty your deck, deal 5 damage per weapon level. So either 1, 10, or 15, depending on what level your weapon is. That's pretty cool, right? So she's being rewarded for emptying her deck. Although remember, every time you empty your deck, you have to deal damage to yourself for fatigue. So it's not something you necessarily want to do a lot, but it's going to happen anyhow. So she's actually getting rewarded for doing it. Cool. And then if we go to her first one, we're going to start with the blue cards, I guess, because that's what I had in top order. We have the maneuvers. We have Adrenaline Shot. Recycle 1. And if you have your mastery, she gets to Volley 2. Now, what will happen, just as an example, if you have both of these out, and you Volley 2, which again says you may discard X cards from the top of your deck to deal damage to the monster equal to your weapon limit for each offensive card discarded this way. When you play this, you can Volley 2 for each one, but it has to be 2 separate instances. So you have to discard up to 2 cards to do a Volley for this, then discard for 2 cards to do this. It's not discard 1 and then apply the effect to both. It's not Volley 4, like you discard 1 card, 2, you don't discard them, and then do it all as one full thing. It's 2 separate, like, attacks, essentially. We have Sharp Shot if you're Mastery, so she's going to get a lot of bonuses here for having her Mastery. Which again, once her deck is empty, she's always going to have that, at least with her first one. The next time you play a attack this turn, a red card this turn, deal 2 damage per weapon level. And it says aim on the bottom. Targeted shot. Weapon Mastery. Next time you play a blue this turn, draw a card. So you can see how these blue ones are not going to be very helpful so far until she has her Mastery. Then they become very, very good cards. She has Accurate Shot with Assist. Rapid Burst with Assist and Volley 2. And then finally, Bouncing Shot. When you discard this card from your hand, perform Volley 2. So she got a lot of stuff that you're going to keep discarding for that volley. So again, you'll let her empty her deck out a lot quicker. In red, we have Silent Arrow, which has Stealth. When you're the aggro player, you cannot play this card in your sequence. So as long as you're not aggro, you can shoot this and you don't trigger reactions, which can be very helpful. Deadly Shot. Increase the damage of this attack by 5 per weapon level. If you have Mastery, this attack deals damage. Inflict Blind. Cool. Alright, extra power and do that. Blinding Shot, which has Stealth. If your previous card in a sequence has Aim, Inflict Blind. So yeah, imagine like just right here as a quick combo, and I'm not going to always go back and forth with this too much. You play Silent Arrow, because you're not aggro. You play this card for 0. Hit them for an attack, right? Because it's ready to do your damage. Doesn't trigger aggro. It has aim on the bottom. You followed up with this by paying for 1. And you can also inflict blind, and you still haven't. So now they don't get to use their peril. And then you could even follow it up with the third one with a deadly shot at the end, right? Except it wouldn't matter if you want to inflict blind twice. It doesn't help you, so it might not make a lot of sense to do that. We have Heavy Arrow. You may pay 2 stamina to increase the damage of this attack by 6 per weapon level. So again, you could do stealth, and then take aggro at the end. Opt to never take aggro. Precision Draw. Assist at the start of your turn. If this is the top card of your discard pile, draw 2. So that's pretty fun too, right? Because you have a lot of stuff that's going to have you discard these cards. Or it's going to have you do volleying might help if it gets discarded. So yeah, you can get some extra card draws to refill your hand. And then finally, we have Cover Fire Assist. When another player would suffer attrition damage, you may discard this card to prevent that damage. So it's always a helpful way to help someone outside of the battle, right? Either assist them to let them draw a card, or you could discard this to help prevent some extra damage. We have the yellow parry cards. Intuition. When you play a defense, you may recycle this card from your hand. In your instruct to recycle, you may discard X cards of your choice from your hand to draw X. If you play a defense, you can discard this specific card to draw an extra card. Prompt Reflexes lets you draw a card. Decoy, choose a player to draw a card. Like I mentioned earlier, play them assist cards. Isn't so bad because you have cards like this that you can play during your turn. Hey, the monster's not going to be affected by by any of my yellow maneuvers or my defenses, so I can play this to help somebody else out. Swift Deflection. When you discard this card from your hand, draw a card. Graceful Defense. Reduce the stamina cost for each defense you play by this turn by 1. So again, playing this first, and then you can play like this one after it, right, for free. And then another player just to draw a card. And you already have aggro, so it doesn't matter either way. Then we have Lightning Escape. Search your discard pile for a green defense and add it to your hand. Alright, so green, which are dodge cards. Well, she's ducking below that swipe. Sneaky Glide. Recycle 1. The next card you play in your sequence gains stealth. In fact, you can give stealth to anything that doesn't have any non-aggro cards. Really cool. Backflip, you only play this card after a red card. Next time you play your hand, draw 1 extra card. Evasion, draw 2 cards. Acrobatics. If played, a blue card is played after this, you draw 3 cards, you may immediately move without paying any stamina costs. That's super helpful too, right? So if like you've done your damage, you could play this at the end of a blue card to maybe get to a different area. To set you up for the next turn or dodge something. Or again, if you have the threatened icon because you didn't move that turn, that can be a way to move to get rid of that threatened token. Long range. The next red you play in your sequence gains stealth. Well, this card is on top of your discard pile for any attrition damage you would suffer. So she has this fun mechanic where you get to play with cards on the top of your discard pile. My only question is, at the end of the round, it says, discard your, or pick up all your cards and put them in your discard pile. So when you do that, discard your sequence. Discard all cards in your sequence in the order you played them. The last card you played on your sequence becomes the top card of your discard pile. That's exactly what I was wondering. Because it's like, oh, you can just put all your cards and you could put this card on top. So basically, if you played this last, then this should be sitting on top of your deck. Again, we have another one like that. So you can't play this at any order, and then when you put your cards in your discard pile, you put them back however you want. You just gather them and shuffle them. Most games wouldn't really care, right? Discard pile is a discard pile. This one's actually going to care about the order. And our final starter card is Ranged Position with Assist. Well, this is the top card of your discard pile. It counts as green defense in your sequence for the attrition check. That's cool too. So yeah, some of these cards, if you play them last, she's going to gain the bonus of having those. That's pretty neat. Let's look at her upgrades. We're going to start with A1. So we have double shot in red. If you play a red card before this, increase the damage of this by 3 per weapon level. Nice, gets an extra shot off. And then we have a yellow one to go with that, Arrow Snatch. When you play a red, you may recycle this card from your hand. Cool. So if you play this one first, and when you play a red, you can, play this first, but you have this in your hand, you can play a red to potentially get another red to keep that attack going. And then if we jump up to level A2, Dancing Arrow, Assist, and Volley 2. This card is considered to be both blue and red. Ooh, that's a fun effect. And then we have a green, so Flash Arrow. Discard your top card of your deck. If that card is a red, you may play it as the next card in the sequence without paying its stamina cost. That's fun. Plus you're working towards everything. Let's say we swap up her mastery. So she gets Storm of Arrows. Play 2 red, place a counter on this card. So when she plays enough red, she'll eventually get to flip this over, which will get her, when you deal damage through volley, increase the damage by 1 per weapon level. Play a red, increase the amount of damage the attack is dealt by 1 per level for each other red card in your sequence. So this is going to turn her in from the original one, where she just got emptied her deck, she does extra damage, to this one instead, she's going to be trying to volley more, because then she gets more damage and play more red cards. This makes her a little bit more of a fully aggressive character versus just trying to eliminate stuff. Neat. In B, we have level 2, we have B, the Waiting Game. At the start of the round, you may reveal a card from your hand to become the last player in order. If you do, you may recycle any number of cards. That's neat. Because normally it would always go whoever has aggro, and then it would kind of go left, like clockwise around the table anyhow. You could opt to always go last with this card. That's pretty cool. Refill the quiver. Shuffle all red cards in your discard pile into your deck. If you have your mastery, you may shuffle the entire discard into your deck instead. Oh, that's neat, right? So you can, especially because she has the ability to re-empty her deck to do stuff. Like, if you don't want to worry about doing that, like, volley, she's constantly discarding. So instead of having to worry about taking that damage, the fatigue damage, you can play this to keep refilling, at least getting your red cards back in, then later potentially getting all your cards back in there wherever you play. So you might never actually run your deck empty that way, which is cool because if you're not playing with the original mastery, you don't want to do that. You could keep discarding for volley all the time and it's not going to hurt you. That's awesome. Yeah, they put a card in there like that. We have B2, we have Infinite Blast Assist, recycle 1 up to 3 times. And why is it listed like that and not just recycle 3? Because recycle 3 would mean I would have to discard 3 cards. And I could draw 3 cards. Recycle 1 means I could discard 1, draw 1. Oh, I like it. Cool. And I could go the second time. I could go the third time. Maybe after the second time, I'm like, no, I'm good. I don't need to go the third time. So it's kind of an interesting way of doing that. And then B2, our second one, is Second Chance. You may discard any number of cards from your hand and draw up to your hand limit size. Kind of like a way to refill your hand. And then we get our next mastery. We have Burst. When you empty your hand, and we just seen 2 cards that are going to work well with that, kind of. They're discarding your hand, right? But if you discard your entire hand, you've emptied your hand, right? And now even though you're going to draw a card right away, place a counter on this card. Prevent any fatigue damage you would suffer. Nice. And when you empty your hand, deal 3 damage to the per weapon level. So it's kind of like the other one lets you empty your deck. This one instead is going to like reward you for emptying your hand. Nice. C1, we have Take Aim, Stealth. Search your discard pile for a card with aim, add it to your hand. Getting to pull cards out is always a good thing. Mid-air Shot with Stealth. Ooh, we have more stealth cards. When you discard this card from your hand, deal your weapon damage. Nice. Gets in the air, she does some damage. Combined Assault, recycle 1. When a player plays 2 red, you may discard this hand to inflict blind. That's fun, because you can do it when another player does it. Awesome. Or yourself. And then Precision Shot, Assist and Stealth. Increases damage and attack by 2 per weapon level for each card with aim in your discard pile. I need another one that focuses on aim and has stealth, so you don't have to take damage. She's going to be kind of the backup support character. For our next mastery for C, we have the Silencer. When you inflict blind, place a counter on this card. So a little bit more specific, a little bit harder to do, but definitely doable if you're planning for it. But then we have, when the behavior card is revealed, you may discard a card with aim from your hand to cancel the effects of that behavior. Cool. So, yeah, this is normally, if you're focusing on this already, so you're going to be trying to blind people a bunch, which is going to shut down their peril card. And then here, this is going to shut down their behavior cards. So you can kind of stand back and you can kind of turn off some of their effects. And it's only 1 per round, but still, being able to shut off 1 every round is not a bad thing either. For D, we have Persistence. Recycle 1. When this card is on top of your deck, add it to your hand. Nice. You just play this last if you can afford it, and you get an extra card in your hand. Open target. When you reveal cards from your hand to deal damage as part of a stun resolution, you may reveal this card as if it were 2 red. Cool. I don't think we've seen any part of her doing stun, though. She does blind, but she hasn't had any stun effects, because stun is a completely separate keyword. Stun. You stun the monster. Okay, because here it goes. This is why. So it says, it's kind of teamwork with our other players. It says, when you stun the monster, place a corresponding stun token on a behavior card in place. So someone else, whoever's stunning is taking out a behavior card. Cannot be curious on. Then choose a player who reveals up to 2 attack cards from their hand and reveals it as their weapon damage to the monster for each card revealed this way. So somebody's stunning them, and then what happens, you choose a player. So you can reveal this card, which could be treated as an attack card, but it can be revealed as if it were 2 red cards instead. Nice. So yeah, if somebody else stuns them, and then, like, if, for example, if Thorg, who uses giant hammers, I'm guessing he's probably gonna have some stun effects, stuns them, then you can pick Mirah here, and she can shoot him, and this can count as if it were already 2, so you play this plus another one, so you get up to 3. damage. That's pretty cool. Retreat shot, perform volley 2 or recycle 1. Opening, prevent the attrition damage you would suffer this turn. What does opening mean as opposed to like starting of a turn? Do we have this listed as? Card with the keyword opening means it's only triggered if there's a first card in your sequence. Okay, so that's cool. So it's kind of like saying she pulls back far enough from the battle that she's not going to take any damage. That's cool. She needs to avoid attrition for the turn. That's awesome. And our last D1 is Hail of Arrows, which is a finisher which ends your combat for the round. Discard X cards from the top of your deck. Deal your base weapon damage for each attack card discarded this way. Nice. That'd be pretty fun. Then we're going to get her new mastery. Deadly Aim. When you recycle a card, you may place it face down under this card, max once per round. If you do, place a counter on this card. Interesting. So a bunch of stuff that recycles. And it says, when focused, discard the cards underneath the Deadly Aim to deal 4 weapon level damage for each attack card discarded this way. At the end of the round, lose focus. Oh, so this is cool. This is the first one we've seen this way. So you're going to focus and unfocus this card repeatedly. So yeah, you're going to, every time you recycle a card, which is again letting you discard a card from your hand, so you can choose it. As long as you put you can put anything under here to flip this. But you want to try and focus your attack, which means you're losing them for potential other use. But then at some point, once you've been focused on this, you can then spend like 4 per each card, so you can get up to 3 under there, because that's when it flips over, right? Max 1 per round. You may place it face under, so you can put up to 3 under. So you can go up to essentially 4 per level for each thing. So if you're level 1, that's 4. If you have 3, that's 12. But if you're at level 3, that's 4 times 3. That's 12 damage per each card. So 12, and then you have another 3. That's 36 damage, right? So it's kind of neat. She can save up. She can do as much as she needs to do. If you need to launch them a little bit quicker, throw some other non-red cards under there, just if that's what you need to do. That's a really cool card. Different way to play, right? Then in our last upgrade option, we have a lateral jump. When you play a blue card in the sequence, you may discard this card from your hand to immediately move without paying any stamina cost. Then we have the Final Reckoning, which is another finisher. Remove 1 struggle and increase the damage. This attack deals by 1 weapon level per each red card in your discard pile. So you move one struggle and increase the damage for each red card. Cool. Then we have Shielded Position. You suffer attrition damage this turn, reduce the damage by 1 per level, and remove 1 struggle. So this last one's kind of helping her remove some of that struggle. It's kind of neat, because all the rest, you have aggressive ones, you have help ones that kind of help your teammates out by doing some stuff, and here we have one that's going to focus, hey, we need someone that can do more reducing struggle or having trouble with that. You could upgrade this direction. Then we have, finally, a Paralyzing Arrow. Increases struggle. This maneuver removes by X, max 5. If you paid 5 for this card, stun the monster. Nice. So you could, even if you don't need to remove 5, you could go ahead and play it, and you can still stun the monster. So that's pretty cool, right? And then we have our other card that let her trigger if someone got stunned. So you could stun him herself, and then you could play this card potentially. And our final mastery is Exhausting Shot. When you play a card with aim, place a counter on this card. Ooh, that's fun. So we're going to play with her keyword. And then Exhausting Shot says, increase the struggle your maneuvers removed by 1. Nice. When a monster reaches 0 struggle, you may discard a red card from your hand to inflict vulnerable. Nice. That's cool too. So then vulnerable, of course, makes them easier to hurt. I'm going to reread that quick. Just a little shield token with the -2 on it. It says, when vulnerable token is on the monster, when you or another player deals damage to the monster, you may discard the vulnerable token to double that damage. At the end of the round, if it is still there, remove it. Yeah, you cannot inflict vulnerable if it's already vulnerable, but that's pretty cool, right? So anybody is trying to hit 0, like as long as it's out, anyone hits it, you can discard a red card to inflict it. So she could get rid of a couple struggle herself, and then the next player could go ahead and get rid of it, hit the last 0 on it, and knock it the rest of the way down. And then yeah, she can go ahead and inflict vulnerable, which means then they can do more damage. That's pretty fun. Alright, then the last 2 cards we have are our 2 wound cards. Just have the picture of the weapon so they get shuffled in there. And they're just at the end of the round, discard this card from your hand. So, as you get KO'd, it just clogs up your deck. That's all that does. Alright, so that is what we have for Mirah. Definitely interesting. Plays, very different. Like, all the different hunters are going to play very different from each other. Which is always exciting. So she has the stealth mechanic, the blind mechanic, using volley and recycle a lot. So she'll be going through her deck a lot more. So maybe for someone that doesn't like having to keep constantly shuffling through cards, she might not be the player for you. You like the idea of being able to kind of sit back and dodge attacks? Stealth might be great. But yeah, some really neat mechanics. I like that each character, each different hunter has some commonality between each other. Obviously, there's only so much you can do with the gameplay, but they each have their own special keywords. Like Darren, we looked at in the first video, has Spanish or a couple of cards. She has a few of them. But you can see her, I think he's more attack focused. She has a little bit more maneuvering. You have to plan her a little bit more. So yeah, cool. Come back, check out the other 2. We have 2 more to go on this, and eventually we'll get into the expansion characters, which had 2 more, which have their own unique mechanics as well. So a lot of different options. See you guys then. Bye.